So I'm going to talk about some of the things that people who are against same-sex marriage have been mentioning these past few weeks. I'm not going to talk about how Adam and Eve is not Adam and Steve, so that's why gays shouldn't be allowed to be married, which, by the way, Adam and Eve weren't married. Eve was just created for Adam, and technically speaking, Eve is Adam's clone because they were made from the same exact DNA and from the exact same chromosome. So technically, it wasn't Adam and Eve, it was Adam and a clone of Adam named Eve. Pretty much two brothers fucking each other and somehow producing just boys, which soon after time became us. Who knew? Only boys created in all life forms. Well, all human life anyway. But anyway, enough about that shit. People are talking about how changing marriage for same-sex couples is a violation of the First Amendment because marriage is under God. And since marriage is under God, marriage is under religious institutions and religion. And since the church and state are separate and the federal government cannot intervene with this church, and since marriage is supposedly under God, which is somehow becomes under religious institution, then they shouldn't change it. Well, here's the thing. Number one, marriage is not under God. If God did exist, why doesn't he say so himself? The Bible doesn't really talk about marriage much. The ancient Druids, the ancient Egyptians, the Native Americans, the ancient Greece, and many more cultures of the ancient times had legal marriages. Marriage is a legal contract between two people, two consenting, loving adults who love each other, or at least supposedly love each other. It's between two consenting adults. That's it. That's all. It's a legal binding contract between one another. The ancients, like I mentioned, the Egyptians, the Druids, the Greeks, the Native Americans, etc., had same-sex marriages. Those weren't under God. Those were legal. Legal contracts in that culture, in that cultural context. If you don't know the definition of marriage, it's right here. But besides that, this is basically how they sound like, how the people who say that if you change the definition of marriage or whatever of marriage so that same-sex couples can be married, is a violation of the First Amendment. This is basically what they're saying. It's okay for two straight people to get married. It's alright. But when a gay couple tries to make it so that they can be married, then holy shit, it's a violation of the First Amendment rights. One could also make the argument